Hello, welcome back people to the QGIS course. Professor Piyush here. So in previous video, I showed you how to label places like this, right? On the points or on the polygons. So that was easy. But let's say if I want to label the lines in QGIS, lines as in our line feature are basically roads and rivers here in this case scenario. So let's say I want to label them as we did for the points and the polygons, basically the places. The result will be totally different because the arrangement, the alignment, and the orientations and everything is different in case of points and polygons, right? So we need to find a different way to label the roads, parallel to them, so that we can easily identify the road names, even the stream names, a river stream like this. You can see this blue color. So we need to find a way how to label them, which will be different from the way we did for the points and the polygons. So let's see how it's done. So first of all, I will just hide the places layer here so that we can have a better understanding. I've also done the same for the restaurants. You can also do the same. You can practice with these elements, all the layers. And if you don't have this data and you're joining now from this video, you can definitely download the exercise data file, which is there in the video description. Share them and you can practice with me. So let's start with the roads. I will select the road layer and I will do the same as we did for the places. I will bring the label option, or you can just right click and open the properties, or you can just double click to bring the layer dialog. So there's so many ways to access it, but this seems more better and more faster and easy. So we are in the labels, right? And if you see, the layer styling is lines, right? These are places were points, and the buildings, land use, they were all polygons, right? So I change it to single labels from the layer styling here, and when I do that, you will see this is how my data will be popped up, which is similar to the data which we got for the points and the polygons, right? If you go to the attribute table on the road layer, you will find the data of the roads, right? Which is highway, which is residential, which is service, and the names of the streets are reflected here in this field. So that's how it is named. If you zoom in, you can see, but it's very confusing. You can see the street names. The more I zoom in, the more detailed the names become, right? The names are aligned like this, but this is how, that's not how we want to recognize the streets, right? We want to be it to be parallel accordingly, so that we can easily identify which street is what. So it's easy. You just need to go to the placement as we did for the points in previous video, also points and polygons. You go to the placement, right? And if you open the properties of the roads, you will find under labels, you will find a placement here as well, right? Similar to that. So the placement, you can see the mode here is horizontal, which you don't want. You want it to be parallel, right? So the moment you do that, automatically it becomes aligned, the roads. So now it's easy to identify somewhat, but there are more refinement which we can do with this. Now one more thing, let's do our first layer of refinement. If you see here, I can see two names of streets, they are repeating, right? Which we don't want. Sometimes we want to be sure about one single lane and names. So we can avoid this. You need to go to the rendering here, right? After placement, you will find rendering at the last, right? In that, you go down and there is one feature option. You need to go down, there is one label option, then overlapping labels, and then there is feature option, where you need to check the box of merge connected lines to avoid duplicate labels. Simple, right? The moment you do this, you can see right away my duplication of my street names has gone, and it will automatically apply to all the map. So we will have very refined number of data. So you can see a lot of text has been reduced to single text, and there is no repetition as such, right? So that was one layer of refinement to this data. Another feature here which you can check is if you go in the same feature option, you will see suppress labeling of features smaller than, which means let's say there are certain features which are very smaller, like something like this, or where you don't want things to be noticed, or the features which are very short to be noticed. So there we can use this. So let's say I can set a bar of 5 mm, right? The features which are less than 5 mm, if I set this bar and see, so I will find another layer of refinement here in my road. Or if I, let's say, make it to 10 mm, and for those features, the roads which are less than that, labelings will be suppressed, right? You can play with this. Now if you see previously, if you go to placement again here at the top, and you'll see we changed the mode to parallel, right? Because when we did for horizontal, you saw how it was coming, right? So we changed and did it to parallel, and did some settings here at the different tabs and options. You can definitely play with the text as I have shown in the previous video how to edit them. You can choose your text size accordingly and you can edit something like this. It's totally up to you how you want to show it. You can play with the text size. Okay. So again, in the placement feature, again, we can play with different placements. Like we did parallel. Let's see what happens if I try curved this time. So when I do that, you can see here, this becomes more refined, right? Which was not the case with the parallel also. So that was crossing the road and all. But if I do it for curved, you will see it will actually take that shape, something like this, right? Easy, right? So it depends. Let's say you want to print in this scale, and you will see your text is beautifully aligned with the roads and all. Right, because the background, let me change the background. Let's say go to the symbol and I will change see which color I can use to highlight my text, something like this. Right, so this seems to be more better. Even I can fill style, I can make it no brush, solid. So right, so this text is more highlighted now, and I can easily recognize my roads. Even if I want, I can off the building layers and see it. Good. Right, so you can play different settings here in the labels for the lines and for the points and the polygons, and can see how better your map can be shown through symbols or through labels, as we have covered both of them in the previous videos. Please try it. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how can you paste your settings or the display of your features like text or symbols and all based on the data. If you remember, we have covered how attribute table can be helpful and what are the elements and terminology of the attribute table. So we are going to use the same attribute table to understand how can we use data defined settings, right? For example, let's say based on the places attribute data, there is name, place, right? So let's say I want to segregate my data or the features based on the place. Let's say I want to recognize only the towns on my map, so I can do my settings in a way so that the names of those features which are in the town will be highlighted in some way or another, right? So how can we do that? We will see in the next video. See you there and keep practicing, guys.